Massive trucker blockades across Canada over the past few weeks protesting COVID mandates inspired similar demonstrations across the world, but the protests appear to be fading in many countries as governments enact anti-protest measures and more nations choose to drop COVID restrictions. Canadian trucker blockades that disrupted traffic and shipping for weeks have largely come to an end after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau invoked emergency powers to disband them. The final convoy, at a border crossing between Manitoba and North Dakota, is set to disperse Wednesday. The rallies started late last month when truckers blocked streets in Ottawa and blared horns to protest vaccine mandates, which inspired further demonstrations in Canada and around the world. But the protests, at least in Europe, came at a time when many countries were already moving to lift the few COVID restrictions that remained. Nations like Sweden, Norway and Denmark have dropped essentially all COVID restrictions, with Austria and Switzerland soon set to join them. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson also plans to drop the legal requirement for COVID-positive people to self-isolate in England. Despite getting widespread attention, polling suggests the trucker protests were not well received by the Canadian public. A survey released Monday by the Canadian polling firm Angus Reid Institute found 72% of Canadians wanted the protesters to go home while 44% said the demonstrations have actually made them more likely to support mask mandates and vaccination requirements to cross the border. The international protests have become fodder for right-wingers on social media in the US, some of whom have spread disinformation. A photo widely circulated on Facebook purporting to show 1.5 million cars at a Freedom Convoy in Australia was actually taken at the 2019 Glastonbury Festival in England, for example. Freedom Convoy COVID protests force car factory shutdowns and spread around the world, Forbes Brussels braced F.